Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our group will present about can white phosphorus kill human. This presentation explains the detail about the chemical such as the properties and the use in industrial and military field. We will also explain about why white phosphorus is dangerous to human and what are the handling and safety measures for this substance. We also highlight the incident related to the use of white phosphorus, which related to the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Lastly, we will point out what are the lessons that we can learn from those incidents. Before we start our presentation, I would like to introduce our group member, which is Balqis binti Shahrir. Next one is me, Nurin Izzah binti Hazni, and the last one is Muhammad Adib bin Nazri. White phosphorus is a substance that are highly poisonous and reactive element used in military application to make explosive devices and smoke screen. It also can cause harm to human because it can cause severe burns and organ damage. White phosphorus can self-ignite, which making it extremely hazardous. Next, the use of white phosphorus in conflict zone such as the conflict between Israel and Palestine had raises ethical and humanitarian issues. People need to be extremely care and follow strict guidelines that are essential while handling the dangerous substance to make sure it will not harm anyone.
What is white phosphorus? White phosphorus is a waxy substance that can range in color from white to yellow. It has a distinctive garlic-like smell. One of its most notable features is its ability to ignite spontaneously in air at temperature above 30 degrees Celsius. When it burns, it produces dense, white, stinging smoke composed of mixed phosphoric oxides. These properties make it highly reactive and potentially dangerous. Where is it used? White phosphorus has significant application in both industry and military settings. In industry, it is primarily used to produce phosphoric acid. This chemical is a key precursor for manufacturing fertilizer, detergents, and other imported chemical products. It plays a vital role in agriculture by contributing to high crops yields and in other industry through its versatile chemical properties. In the military, white phosphorus is used for three main purposes. First, it is deployed to create smoke screen that obscure visibility, providing a tactical advantage. Second, it is used for nighttime illumination in combat zone. Finally, it serves as an incendiary agent, burning at high temperature to cause destruction. These applications highlight its dual-use nature, but they also emphasize the importance of handling it carefully. Why is it hazardous? While white phosphorus has many uses, it is extremely hazardous due to its reactivity. One of the primary disadvantages of white phosphorus is its pyrophoric property, meaning it ignites instantly upon exposure to air. This results in the release of dense, toxic smoke and intense heat, which can cause severe damage. In military context, it is especially destructive, as it is used in incendiary weapons that can harm people, property, and the environment. Improper storage or handling can lead to uncontrolled burns and long-term environmental damage. The risks of exposure are significant. Inhalation of white phosphorus vapor can severely damage the respiratory system and in some cases cause asphyxiation. Direct skin contact leads to deep chemical burns that penetrate tissues and bone, which can be fatal if not treated immediately. If the white phosphorus is absorbed into the body, it can cause systemic damage, leading to organ failure of the liver, kidney, and cardiovascular system. These risks are heightened in conflict zones where access of medical care may be limited. Handling and safety measures. Given the dangers of white phosphorus, handling it safely is critical. The first priority in the event of exposure is to stop the burning process. This can be done by flushing the affected area with saline or clean water to remove any phosphorus particle. This contaminated cloth should be removed carefully and submerged in water to prevent ignition. The affected skin should be rinsed repeatedly with cool water or saline, and any embedded phosphorus particle must be carefully removed using forceps. These particles should then be placed in cold water to ensure they do not reignite. It is also essential to keep the individual away from the source of ignition such as flame or electrical equipment to avoid further incidents. If the eyes are exposed to white phosphorus, they must be flushed with water or saline for 10 to 15 minutes. Any visible particles should be carefully removed with forceps while the flushing continues. After the initial treatment, the individual should undergo a thorough eye examination, and if necessary, they should refer to an ophthalmologist for specialized care.
Phosphorus is an element that can come in a few different forms. One of the most reactive forms is white phosphorus, and a while ago, I was able to get some chunks of it. It's stored underwater to protect it from air, and the moment I take it out, it starts smoking. This is because it's reacting with oxygen and letting off phosphorus oxides. It's often used to make large amounts of smoke, but it's also sometimes used as a weapon, which is a bit terrifying. This is because white phosphorus is not only very toxic, it's also super hard to put out when it's on fire. To test this, I'm just going to light this small piece. It immediately starts burning and splashing, but I can put it out by just smothering it, which makes it seem not that bad. However, because it's so reactive with air, this is what happens when I take away the dish.
Documented use of white phosphorus in the Israel-Palestine conflict. The 2008-2009 Gaza War, also known as Operation Kaslit, saw Israel force initially deny the use of white phosphorus in conflict. However, later admission confirmed that white phosphorus was indeed deployed, primarily for creating smoke screens. This weapon, when used in densely populated areas, led to devastating consequences. A notable example was the January 4, 2009 strike on the Abu Halima family home, where white phosphorus caused severe burns, injuries, and fatalities among civilians. Fast forward to October 2023, similar incidents resurfaced when Israeli forces were reported to have fired white phosphorus over Gaza City port. Verified footage and report confirmed the disturbing use of highly controversial weapon, igniting fears over its impact on civilians. The effect include not only serious injuries and fatalities but also lasting ecological damage. The use of white phosphorus in densely populated regions continues to raise significant concerns about the severe consequences for civilian population, further exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. This incident highlights the devastating and long-term effect that such weaponry can have on both human life and the environment. Fatalities and humanitarian impact of a white phosphorus. The Abu Halima family tragedy during the 2008-2009 Gaza War stands as a harrowing example of the devastating impact of a white phosphorus in conflict zone. A WP shell struck their home, killing a father and 4 of his children while severely burning 5 others. The injuries caused by WP's intense and uncontrollable chemical burns overwhelmed local medical facilities, which were ill-equipped to handle such catastrophic case. This incident underscored the horrific consequence of deploying white phosphorus in civilian areas. Similarly, in October 2024, the Al-Quds school attack further highlighted the indiscriminate nature of WP weapons. WP munition struck a civilian shelter, killing 6 people, including 2 children, while 5 spread rapidly, leaving devastation in their wake. This attack once again emphasize the immense danger posed by WP and densely populated regions, where its effect can be catastrophic and far-reaching. Another chilling example occurred in May 2021 when WP bombardment near Al-Shifa Hospital, Gaza's largest medical facility, endangered the life of patients and staff. The strike disturbed critical medical care, worsening an already dire humanitarian crisis. Together, this incident paint a grim picture of devastating and indiscriminate consequence of white phosphorus use, particularly in dense populated areas where civilian casualties, ecological damage, and the collapse of essential medical infrastructure are inevitable. Lesson learned from the conflict. Strengthening international law enforcement is critical to ensuring accountability for violation of international humanitarian law, IHL. This can be achieved by empowering stronger tribunals, enhancing United Nations investigating powers, and fostering global collaboration to prosecute war crimes effectively. Protecting civilians in conflict zones must remain a priority, with strict enforcement of military adherence to the principle of distinction and proportionally to minimize harm to non-combatants and critical infrastructure. Equally important is the need to enhance humanitarian response mechanism by improving funding and coordination for essential services such as medical care, infrastructure rebuilding, and physiology support for effect population, rapid response teams, and pre-position supplies in conflict zone, and can significantly mitigate the impact of hostilities on vulnerable communities. Raising awareness and advocacy also play a vital role in addressing the challenge posed by incendiary weapons like white phosphorus. Through public education, stricter controls, and support for agreements like the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons (CCW), the international community can work towards curbing their use. Finally, fostering dialogue and peace building is essential for addressing the root cause of conflict. This requires robust diplomatic efforts, inclusive dialogue, and initiatives aimed at promoting stability, reconciliation, and long-term peace. By integrating these strategies, the international community can work towards reducing human suffering and building more just a secure world.
This is what a white phosphorus bomb explosion looks like. The plumes of smoke, when inhaled, cause sudden scarring of lungs, suffocate people to death, and melt flesh just like the napalm bomb. White phosphorus is a colorless or yellowish, translucent, wax-like substance that smells a bit like garlic and ignites on contact with oxygen. When used, it's characterized by a loud bang and a plume of bright white smoke. It can stay dormant in the ground, but exposure to air causes it to ignite immediately. Under the Chemical Weapons Convention, white phosphorus is not considered a chemical weapon, and is thus used on battlefields to make smoke screens, generate illumination, mark targets, or burn bunkers and buildings. But it is illegal to use it as an incendiary weapon in war zones and in heavily populated civilian areas. It burns fiercely and can inflict horrific injuries, kill and burn to the bone, and its usage constitutes a war crime. White phosphorus bombs were called Willie Pete and were used during World War I and World War II. The Pentagon acknowledged the use of white phosphorus munitions in the Iraqi city of Fallujah in 2004. In 2008-2009, it was used by Israel on civilian areas during its recurring military campaigns in Gaza. And now, amid the recent escalation of tensions between Hamas and Israel starting on October 7, 2023, Palestine has accused Israel of using illegal phosphorus incendiary weapons while bombing populated areas in Palestine's Gaza.
From our presentation, we can conclude that white phosphorus substance can cause harm and death to humans if it ingested, inhaled the smoke, or have a direct contact to skin with it. White phosphorus can cause deep severe burns to the skin, which is a result from a combination of thermal and chemical use. It also can cause irritation to some body parts that are exposed to its particle or smoke and may lead to organ damage. In short, we can say that white phosphorus is used to torture and kill the victim in the conflict between Israel and Palestine slowly, where the act is very cruel and deeply inhuman. That's all from us. Thank you.